Good. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen, you guys. Let me know when you can see it. Just give me a thumbs up. See it? Okay, cool. Everybody's unmuted. Okay. I'm just gonna kind of mute everyone unless you're. So if you're muted now, just feel free to jump in on the conversation and unmute yourself. No problem at all. So what I want to do today is the idea for today is to get to the point where we've kind of completed these 4 steps of conducting a call, and hopefully a high converting call. So we're gonna end with step 4, which is booking appointments. And we're gonna run it right through from effectively step 1, which is the connection of the call, the personal intro and the reason for the call, through to step 2, the discovery questions, and then step 3, the acknowledgements, making sure you're understanding the person on the other end of the line. And then we're going to jump into booking appointments. So by the end of the session, what I'd like to do is kind of go through with everybody and do a quasi role play, but get an idea of how effective you guys think this could be to you, and just literally run it as a bit of a role playing session, but also just wide open questions and answers as well. Okay. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. So we've kind of taken care of the first 3 steps of like a highly effective call to book appointments. And I want to just remind all of us that really there's no reason to be making these calls if we can't book appointments as the result. Okay. So ultimately, when we have a good call, we're making a connection and we're understanding what matters to people. But we are also needing to stay in control of the conversation. So if we're in control, and that might sound a little bit aggressive, but if we are able to be guiding the lead along the conversation, we'll be doing things like acknowledging their concerns, we'll be mirroring how they feel, but ultimately we'll feel good about a guided conversation. Okay. And you, like, everybody knows when they've had a great conversation, I think. I do. Everybody else have examples of, or does everybody else feel they have a lot of good conversations? Excellent. Anybody who's been here the first time, like Alexandra and Melissa, if you guys don't mind going off camera, if you can't, just be prepared to do that next time, please. Okay. So yeah, you've kind of just through steps 1 to 3, you've literally built the connection and you've probably had a great conversation. Now, the next step is you have to recognize that this is the most important part of the call, and that's booking the appointment. Okay. I think that this is somewhere where a good conversation can be a good conversation, but it can be a little bit of a meaningless conversation if you're not helping the person along to the point where they see value in you and a potential solution to their problems. Okay. So good conversations are great, but if you're not moving towards meeting with that person via Zoom, internet, Zoom, in-person, coffee, whatever it might be, showings, then the call is going to be just left at, I understand you, or I heard you, or that was a great call. Can I call you back in a week? All of those outcomes of a telephone call are, I think, could be considered, less than effective conversations. So I'm just going to go around the room and start to get everybody involved. But Godwin, I'll start with you. Have you ever had a conversation that, you had a great conversation, but it ended without any real outcome?
Yeah, yeah. I have a few of them, as a matter of fact. And the kickback and the rejection, like, okay, we're not ready. And it's like, okay, if I find you something that meets all your criteria, would you be able to move? And the kickback is that, no, we are not ready. We're just going to wait till, say, 3 months or 6 months down the line. So yeah, I have been getting a whole lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. And it's a great example of a couple things. Number one, you offering them value down the road, which is great. But number two, the way that you'll hear most of these conversations ending is, can I set you up with a search, or what kind of home are you looking for specifically? But exactly that, like, if I could talk to you, when would you be looking to purchase? So you're then kind of handing off that opportunity to solve their own problem to themselves. Whereas we want to have control of the conversation, control of the situation, and we want to be the ones having a meaningful conversation with them. And the only way we can do that is either, on a discovery day, so going out and looking at houses together, very mindful and conscious of the fact that it's an open-ended, conversation time, or having a Zoom call, or meeting with a person at your office, or somehow in person. So those are the three primary outcomes that I see. And Godwin, that was a good example of, I mean, if you're thinking about this outside of the appointment getting, that was probably a really good way to conduct the call. But I want us thinking like we're in it to book the appointments. That is our metric. So having had somebody answer the question that way is wonderful, but we don't have an appointment. So it wasn't a wasted call by any means, but it was an ineffective call. Is that fair?
No, yeah, that makes perfect sense, yeah. And then one other thing also I've been getting is that it's like, okay, well, the leads comes in and try to connect, and I like they wouldn't even pick up the phone, but they'll send a message back like, okay, you know what, send me the listings, and I just want to have a look, and if I like it or if I see something, then I'll circle back to you. And I think yesterday, and I goes, oh, can I call you so I can get more details, and I'll be able to set you up, right? And she kicked back and said, no, don't call me. I just want you to send me what you have, right? So like I know a situation like that. I mean that like I didn't know whether I should set her up, or like I mean even simple thing as a budget, she couldn't even provide me. All she said was send me whatever you've got, So yeah.
Yeah, so let me be clear. Maybe your goal is an appointment, but a lot of time you won't end up with an appointment, right? You'll
Right.
end up in those situations where you're giving people information, free information, but that free information might be a way to get them into an appointment in the future.
Okay.
So don't feel like, I would say appointment setting, if you achieve 20 to 30% of your calls end up in appointments, that would be amazing. Like that would be absolutely legendary. But if you could be making your 30 calls a day or 20 calls, whatever you want to do, and you're booking like 10 to 15% into appointments, that's very, very good. Okay. So I understand that clearly 85% of those conversations will not end up in an appointment, but appointments are what we should always be striving for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. But don't feel bad about you know, the outcome not always being an appointment.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just see. Let me ask Alexander, do you have any, Godwin gave some good examples. Do you have any situations where you've kind of had the conversation or it's not ended up an appointment for some reason? Oh, there you go.
Many times.
So I mean, it should be 80% of the time or more, right?
More.
Yeah,
For the reason I doing right now this because I need help with my phone call.
that's fair. Perfect. So let me ask you, is your goal when you jump on a call to set up an appointment?
No, not yet. I would like to understand first the needed of the client.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, perfect. Efrain, let me ask you, is your goal when you pick up the phone to book an appointment?
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Awesome. That's perfect. So, how often do you think you book an appointment versus some other outcome? What percentage of the time, I guess?
Well, the goal is to get the appointment, right? But not always you're gonna get it. So I have to be conscious about that, and I am. So, but when that happens, well, I try to look for alternate solution. So how I continue the conversation or keep in contact with that person after, as Alexandra said, understanding what the client is looking for and what is their real estate project, to find out the best way to help them out. Let's say, for instance, just this morning I was doing my calls, and one person I just called, I got the lead, and immediately I called him back, and this person said, "No, I'm not looking for a property. I'm not looking to buy anything." And well, it got me probably because it was too early. I didn't know what to answer, and well, the guy said, "Okay, thank you, bye," and he hung up. Right, so I didn't do anything else. After that, I was like, "What's going on? I didn't get anything, so this is not good, right? Because it wasn't any extensive conversation or any other things that we should be talking to." At this point, well, probably I lost this lead, and I couldn't put it in my CRM, and so that's the situations that sometimes we face. Well, not sometimes, several times, right?
Sure. Yeah, we face it every day for sure. So when, Efrain, what would you consider an appointment booked? Like, what does a booked appointment look like to you? It's different for everybody.
Well, at least, the first call is more to connect with the people, right? With the potential clients. The appointment to me could be to meet in person or to meet online, so I can explain them how I work, and obviously to understand them better, what their needs are and what they are planning to do, if they are, soon or in 2, 3, 6 months or 1 year or 2 years or whatever, right?
Okay.
So, and when an online appointment or a personal appointment is in presence is given, well, I'm gonna be talking to them about their project and the process and how we are going to to make strategies to get the results they are looking for.
Perfect. Excellent. Let me just ask Jonathan, quick question. What does an appointment look like to you? You're very quiet, by the way. Super quiet. Can't hear you. It's all right.
So is it better now?
Yeah.
So you asked me what my appointment looks like?
What would an appointment look like to you? What does it mean to book an appointment?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So what does it look like to book an appointment? What does an appointment mean?
First of all, to get to know the client. And I don't set appointments, but I think I should. But it also, if the client is willing to take his own time to meet you, it also means that he's kind of serious in his procedure to buy a house or sell a house. That's what it tells me.
100%. And I think that you've hit two things that I just really like to hear. Number one, you're starting to learn how to and if you should book appointments. And number two, it is absolutely the only way to get to know somebody. So good for you. And I hope that maybe after the next few sessions, weeks, whatever it is, we can really hone in on making appointments. Because when we're on calls, and that is the reason Book More Showings is called Book More Showings. The way the online lead generation works, because it's a numbers game, and part of that numbers game is appointments. So when you start, you're of course trying to contact the lead, then you're trying to connect with them, then you're trying to get an appointment with them. Without an appointment, it's going to be very hard to get hired and to do a deal, right? So focusing on the ideal outcome, the outcome that you'd be super happy with for the day, can definitely be connections, speed to lead, connections, contacts, discussions. But ultimately, if you were to go out and pay for something, you would pay for appointments, right? So if I'm going to hire somebody to book appointments for me, or to do something for me, it would be to book appointments. So just let's keep that in mind, and keep that as kind of one of the main focuses that we have in this whole world of lead generation. Christine, does that make sense? You have any comments? Oh, you're muted here.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Yeah, you're on mute. You got it. So make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is it like, I know you've done this a while, like not the online lead gen a while, but obviously the booking human to human for a long time. What differences are you finding with kind of booking appointments with online leads? Do you find it difficult? How do you feel about it?
Well, I think, first of all, most of the time, the responses that we got from the online leads is pretty much the same as what's been shared by the other, readers here.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, expected the outcome, but I still ask. Usually when I ask for, I do, the conversation will will lead to booking an appointment. But most of the time the response is, I'm not, they wanted to see something first. Can understand. They wanted to see some listings, to appeal to them. So, if their response, the reply is not, not at the moment, they're not in a hurry or something, I will just use the listings to appeal to them, to attract them, to keep them, to engage them. So that, so usually I will say, I will send you some listings and I will follow up with you in a couple of months. I mean, in a few weeks time or something like that, to see whether if you need any adjustment, to sort of like, keep them engaged with me. Is more like, so that they won't forget me in the first place. So if they see something that they like, they have questions, then, that's when they are more willing, open to meeting up.
Totally. Excellent. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So it is a bit of a process. And let me just go through this again. Godwin, with your CRM, does it allow you to see the appointment booked metric?
Yes.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I would strongly suggest that as your own personal self, anyways, that's the number one metric that you should be looking for.
Okay.
What percentage of outbound calls end up in appointments? And once you start measuring that beyond anything else, once you start measuring that, you'll have better conversations to begin with. And then you'll obviously have more appointments where you're going to meet more people. So,
Okay.
yeah. Christine, does your CRM allow you to measure the appointment rate?
I just switched to this CRM, which I still need to work on it, but I think it has that, but I'm still working on it.
Okay, perfect. And it can be as simple as counting your calls and then counting appointments. And who knows, it might start out being like 2%. But if you know that that's the main metric that you want to kind of measure yourself against, then you work on it, you'll get better and you'll get better and you'll get better.
Mhm.
But one thing I know for you, Christine, and for most people, like once you meet, that's it, you're good. Once you meet online, once you book that appointment, once you've had that face-to-face, you guys are off to the races, right? You can do your thing, you can do what you know, and you'll do it really, really well.
Yep.
Just we have to get those appointments booked.
Great.
What's there? Jonathan, your CRM probably tracks appointments booked.
Not yet.
So just start, even if you're just doing it by paper, like just start keeping track.
I use Google Calendar, but it's not, it is in my CRM.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is nothing, there's no analytic, there's no tracking of it.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird, like Follow Up Boss does it well. There are CRMs out there, I'm sure, that do it well. But what is very ironic to me is like that's the only metric you should be measuring, like straight up. I mean, you can extend out to measuring like transactions, of course, that's like, but the only thing in between your conversation with person and your transaction is meeting them.
Okay.
So, it's such a vital component of online lead gen. But the best part about online lead gen is that you can get better and better and better at this because of the volume of leads. And you're going to be nurturing lots of these leads. So you don't have to book an appointment on their first conversation or their first meeting. But if you're working and you're doing 10, 20, 30 leads a day, there should be some metric that you're looking at in there for booked appointments. It might be a booked appointment on the 15th time you've talked with them, right? But your overall system should be looked at. You should be looking at booked appointments. Okay, but don't get me wrong, it's a nurture game. 100%. My little sales pyramid at the 5% top of the pyramid, those are people you might get. The other 25% are different, and then the other 70% are just starting to look. So I clearly understand that there's that. And when I'm talking about appointment bookings, I'm not just talking about booking first call appointments.
Okay.
Might take 3 calls, might take 6 calls. Okay, so Melissa, hello. I'm just wondering, do you measure as a metric booked appointments?
Honestly, I am brand new. This
Okay,
is my
perfect.
first training, so I am fresh off the gates and kind of have my own system.
Okay.
So I really can't vouch for anything else.
Yeah.
But answering some of the questions y'all were saying was, this just happened this weekend where I did have a online lead come from a previous source. We had an appointment set for today. I confirmed the appointment. They have to reschedule. And that tells me that that person's not 100% ready, or I did something, or I need to share something or connect with them more to have them feel more certain and secure. So it's usually a temperature gauge on my path when a appointment's not booked properly.
Yeah, 100%. But then there's also just the fact that the show rate on appointments will be no higher than 60%. So, typical online lead gen booked appointments, sorry. So it doesn't necessarily mean you did anything terrible. I think the fact that you get to follow up with them, the fact that you get to reschedule it, those are good signs.
Yeah, they're good signs when they're communicating with you, right? So it's not a dead lead.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So anybody else have experience booking appointments or having a system to book appointments? Ron, do you have anything where you're kind of tracking appointments that you've booked?
I'm also brand new. So
Right on.
it's my first training. I'm ready to learn. I've not done any online leads in 15 years in the business. I've done all sphere of influence and referrals, and I'm just trying to fill in any gaps that I should have done a long time ago.
For sure. And yes, the majority of the people here are in similar boats to you.
Cool.
So So that's a good thing. Just as an FYI, you've kind of started in the middle. So in future go-rounds, I'll handle things a little bit differently so that somebody can come in at any time and we can be doing the same thing. But yeah. So just my philosophy is like, if you can be on camera, that's amazing. I can see you. And then if you have any questions, just fire away. Don't feel like you're interrupting.
Well, since I'm brand new, I'll have questions, but I don't think they're specific for this. It's more like, hey, my lead gen just started. I'm going to get an email when that lead comes in. Those kind of questions, like probably one-on-one type stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And probably through that support. And then I think there's 2 weekly calls that the BMS runs, like one technical call and one general information call. So just check that school calendar. I think they'll be in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm not on that side whatsoever. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, more than anything, I'm just helping Will out with this stuff. So
Cool. Thanks.
yeah, no problem. Okay, so it sounds like there's an awareness at the very least that that booked appointments are important. They're definitely, as we build a telephone call and as we kind of go through a telephone call with a client or a lead, it definitely has to be the outcome that you're looking for. And so the last piece that we'll do, we've had the discovery questions before. We'll walk through everything at once, but we've had these discovery questions. We've been already asking them questions. They've been responding. We are starting to understand them from an emotional perspective and from an anecdotal perspective. We probably don't know a ton about, they're looking for 3 beds, 2 baths. We hopefully will know if they have kids and their situation, because we're trying to solve pain that they have or problems that they have. And those generally arise for financial reasons with real estate, and they can usually be solved by us. So steps 1 to 3, we're trying to make sure we could answer some questions or help them out. And then number 4, the booking of appointments is really, it's straightforward. And I think we get caught up in like where we get in conversations. And how we ask for that appointment. But the number 1 thing you can do is to mirror what somebody has stated previously. So if, for instance, they've said that they're just looking, it's time to label that, I'll call it. So label it as just looking, and then just literally restate that I understand you're just looking. Then you need to offer some value. Okay, so offering a helpful, relevant reason to meet is really important. You can also not offer value and still get a chance to meet with people. So let me just ask, does anybody want to role play this quickly for me? And I'll be the lead. Anyone? Okay, Godwin, you're it.
All right. So are we taking it from the top or?
No, just from so yeah, good. That's a good question. Basically, I want you to say, so I'll be the realtor, sorry. Basically, I just want you to say, I'm just looking, or in the conversation previously, we've learned that you're just looking.
Okay, yeah.
So
okay, yeah, no, Tim, right now I'm just looking around.
yeah, it's probably really important to kind of start looking. So I understand that you're just starting to look. So that's just the mirror, right? Just that piece where it's kind of an acknowledgement, but it's just, I'm saying exactly what you said. I'm just looking, you're just looking, you're just looking, I'm just looking. I understand that. So the important part is then converting that to giving that person value, right? Whether it be something like, I understand you're just looking, that's the perfect time to start thinking about what you want specifically. There are plenty of ways that I can help you look without bothering you in any way, shape, or form. So some kind of value offer, and maybe we'll turn it around, Godwin. Some kind of value offer that you're offering me that kind of gets you to a point where you're setting up the appointment. Okay? So let's just try this as a broad example. This is a little bit different, but I say I'm just looking, and then you start from the mirroring,
Okay.
and then we'll go to value. Just totally casual, don't think too much about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Godwin, right now, we're just, as I said earlier in the conversation, we're just looking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I understand that you're just looking. So, if I can offer any help at all, like, by all means, I'm here to help.
It's good. So here's the transition I think we can help. Don't ask a question, offer the value. So,
Okay.
hey, I've got plenty of ways by my access to MLS that I can help you look, right? So I have direct access to MLS with all the parameters needed to help you look. Then, could we sit down for a 5 to 10 minute Zoom call? And I'll show you what it looks like on the back end of MLS. So you have, just tell them the truth. You have much more access than they do to look for houses. There's no obligations. We just like to meet and set up a search for you. But instead of setting up a search without talking with them, that's the reason you could meet. Okay. You can even tell them, like, a lot of realtors will just try to set up a search for you. It may or may not be looking for what you want. But with me, I just take 10 or 15 minutes with my leads, my clients, and go through the actual search process. So we set it up and then we move on. Okay. So Godwin, do you just see like the difference between telling them that you can help and then mentioning the value that you can add?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, that it makes perfect sense. And I mean, even then, it makes them feel comfortable. Okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He have the resources. So why don't I just give him, like, say, 30 minutes or an hour of my time to see how much value he can provide to me? So that makes it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's exactly right. And you know what? If they don't, if they're not interested at the moment on meeting, we're not car salespeople. We don't need to sell this thing today. That just will remind them how kind of serious you are about helping them. And then if you need to call them back in 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever they ask, they'll remember you as that person who can offer a unique value.
Tim?
Yeah.
Hey, would you ever just use that moment? If it's only 5 or 10 minutes, do you offer it right then? Hey, we've already got a meeting going on. I could take 5 or 10 minutes. Let's get you set up so that you can get this search going for you now.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send you the Zoom link and we can jump on and I'll just set that search up for you. I think that's a great idea. Really, really good idea.
Okay.
I tend to have meetings booked for me, so there's that time that I'm required.
sure.
Yeah, but if you're on the phone, heck yeah. Especially, yeah, for sure. That is a great idea. Yeah. But I think the key is still just putting together this value that you can add, right? And it'll, like, the Godwin and I were awkward because we didn't have the pretext of all the steps that we took previously.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you just fall back on something, just fall back on your honesty. Like, it's what we do. We can really help them tremendously. Okay. Anybody else questions? Zara, thanks for going online. Oh, for whatever reason, I can't hear you, but.
Oh, Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, my mic, actual physical mic was muted.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think these are very helpful tips because when somebody says that they're just looking, I didn't know how to basically transition from there. And typically I ask like, okay, great, like I'm here whenever you need my help. Like I don't exactly say how I can help them, and that's very helpful. So to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great point, and I think that Zara, almost vast majority of online lead gen calls by the world will end in let me know how I can help you, or I'll try to help you. Endings that aren't actually results for anybody. But don't forget too, like you're not going to be able to book an appointment every single time you speak with a person, but you should ask, right?
Does it make sense, like on the very first call to tell them, hey, let's say you have a conversation, they say they're just looking, and say, okay, I have tools that can help you look better. Would it be too crazy for us to meet in person so that I can show you how I can help you? I mean, in terms of bringing this meeting appointment in person on the very first call, because what's the worst case that's gonna happen? They're gonna say no. I mean, sometimes they may say yes, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And since it's a numbers game, it's never hurts to try. But I would suggest, if you haven't seen this yet, so I have this like 3 steps. The first step is the personal introduction. Hi, my name is, I saw you looking, can I have an opportunity to help? And then I think if you're asking these discovery questions, you'll have a lot more success opening the door to an appointment. So, anything from what made now the right time for you to start looking, and then you'll get a response. And then from that response, regardless if it's good or bad, you can use an acknowledgement. So that totally makes sense. Or something like, a lot of my clients feel that way.
Yeah.
So regardless of the response, like say the response is, why did you call me? Right? Why, I didn't fill out the ad, which is common, right? So I didn't fill out the ad. You can simply do an acknowledgement like, yeah, I hear you. Like a lot of people don't remember filling out the ad, and then you can move on to kind of that next question.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just acknowledging the heck out of them, like, I understand, it makes sense. A lot of people didn't fill out the ad. I don't know what's going on. Meta must be screwed up, blah, 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 whatever you want to use to kind of ease their anxiety. And then you can go into the kind of next question.
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know if I have this document, by the way, so.
Yeah, it's kind of complete now. So after this session will be complete, like the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. So I'll send it out to everybody right away here, or after this session.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so I think it's a step-by-step process, but now we're on that booking appointment step. So we will have likely been challenged with that just looking objection, or with I didn't click on the ad. So this is kind of like, now we're down to the point where we've had this conversation, we're having a meaningful conversation, and it's time to just ask for the meeting. Okay? So in this breath, it's like you're kind of, by restating, maybe what I mean is you're taking all of that conversation and simplifying it. I understand, you're looking for a home in Scarborough. I get it. Your family's there. Makes sense to me. I have the ability to access MLS directly. And the nice part is I can set up a search for you, or most realtors can set up a search for you. But what I prefer to do is to do it in person, to let you have a look at the back end of MLS and see all of the different options you can search for. Okay. Now, if it's convenient for you, since we're on the phone, we could just jump on a Zoom call right now and go through how that search might look. That's thanks to Ron. Thanks, Ron. So does that make sense, Zara? So it's kind of this is the last part. It's important to kind of summarize the conversation to date and then offer how you can help.
Yes, Absolutely. Just one question, when you mentioned that when you have a meeting in person, like when they meet you, that's like this is a very good thing because face-to-face interaction builds more of a connection. So just wondering, is I guess that's a question for everyone, but under experience, when once you set up an appointment with someone in person, does that person feel like they can commit to you more? Like,
Definitely. I mean, there's no better opportunity for you to show what you can do than in person. And there is no doubt that that's the best kind of meeting to have.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, this has been new to me probably this past year, but we're calling it a discovery call, or discovery day, sorry, discovery day. So a discovery day is one where we talk with the lead. We realize that they're just starting to look, or they're looking, which just starting to look is actually the best for this. So we suggest to meet in person. Then we talk about them selecting a home and us selecting a home and going to visit those homes on a certain day. Okay? So we can legitimately get to know a person in person. And we found that that's, traditionally maybe most realtors would be like, why would we go out? We're not going out to help somebody look for a house. We're going out to meet that person. So very much the same way we would be like, let's meet at our office. We are now creating these discovery days. And they are, I don't want to say 100% successful, but very, 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 very high percentage of having that client hire us that day or the day after. Has anybody ever, I mean, there's lots of experienced realtors here, so I'm super curious because I think in the past I would have been like, why would I even leave my house to meet with somebody who may or may not be qualified? What are everybody's thoughts around that?
I've had experience where I've just used that house showing exactly for what you just said. Simply, here's a face-to-face. I'm going to lock this guy in and find out if it's, if they're qualified very quickly. If I don't happen to know, but usually if you can get that appointment, you can say, hey, do you already know what price range? I don't want you to get your hopes up and be looking at houses that are not even, within the range of what you can buy.
Yeah.
And so often I can get them to fill out an application with my favorite loan officer still before they show up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that it's amazing. I think like as long as your mindset is this is marketing for me, this isn't like me going out and like I'm probably going to be very high likelihood that I am wasting my time. But I've spent X dollars on leads, I've booked an appointment, I want to go meet people. That's the cost of doing business on the marketing, on the online lead marketing front.
I think it's right on. Yeah, I think it's smart. I mean, obviously, if you're driving an hour away, you're going to think twice about it. But most of my appointments aren't that far.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So great way
Yeah,
to meet
and
people. Yeah.
yeah, no, and I have a situation just like that. The lead came in, I called, we engaged, we had a good conversation, so I was able to book an appointment to meet up with him. And when we sat down, he wasn't qualified, but he was he's very interested in, and he just want to make the moves. And I goes, okay, if you like, I can hook you up with a mortgage broker. And he goes, okay, he wants to talk to his bank first. So he's actually booked an appointment to go and see his bank tomorrow. So I mean, he's not pre-qualified or anything like that, but he is very motivated. So, and yeah, see how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, the motivation can be more important than the pre-qualification, but ultimately you need money. So
Exactly, yeah.
but that's perfect. That's perfect. I mean, sometimes motivated people find different ways to find the financing, right? So, but you met with him, and that's awesome. I'm guessing he will very unlikely use another realtor.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I've been engaging him, and like we've been chatting on WhatsApp. He's becoming like a buddy already. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah.
That's good. Anybody else with similar situations? Anybody else tried the discovery days? That's what I should be asking.
I don't know what discovery days.
Excellent. So Zara, and I think this will be good for you because you're really interested in meeting people in person. So what my group has been doing quite a bit lately is if we're talking to somebody and we're setting them up a search and they're looking via Zoom at the back end, or even if they're not and we want to book an appointment with them, we'll suggest like they would pick one house to go look at and we'll pick what we think they could go look at. It's also a reason to get talking with them more too. So you pick a house, we'll pick a house, we'll meet you at the first house, and then we'll go show you that and the other house. So it's a appointment. So you have to look at it as an appointment, and you're going out there just basically with only the information that you've gleaned during those phone calls. And then you're going out to meet with them. So the idea is to have an appointment in person and to show them a couple houses at the same time.
That sounds very good.
And people like it. But I mean, there's all kinds of things. You have to have the time to do it. You know, there are realities. So I'm not suggesting you try to do that with every person, but a lot of the time, just trying to think of a percentage because I like that kind of thing. But I would say 90% of discovery days turn out into at least buyer's guides, buyer agreements. Probably closer to 100% for buyer's agreements. Okay, Elvira, do you have any questions?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, Adrian? No, Melrose, how are you? Good. Okay, let's move on.
I'm
good. Oh, sorry.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Cool. So just some very specific examples. And I've started these mainly with a scenario, like just browsing. This is more of an objection. So let's just say that we're probably talking more like the mirror. Everything starts with mirroring. So I get that. And then most importantly, a lot of people I talk with are in your stage as well as the early stage of the search. So very summary of what has happened to that call, sorry. And if it's early stage, we need to recognize that they're in that early stage. Okay. This is what I would say is kind of the discovery day opening. What usually helps is a quick walkthrough of what's actually available right now. So you're not wasting times on listings that have already gone or have already sold. So this can open up a person to going out to look at properties, or more importantly, sitting down on a Zoom call, sharing your screen and looking at properties via your MLS system. Okay. So really easy, mirror what they're saying, bring your value, which is your ability to go behind the scenes on MLS, and then simply ask, would Thursday at 6 or Saturday morning at 10 work better for you? Have people used this close before, this kind of presumptive close? Sure. Assuming Ron has, yeah. Zara, you're familiar with this? Like give them 2 times to book in?
I've heard of the presumptive close, but I haven't used that. So yeah.
So just think of it as you're looking at your calendar and you have 2 times for them available. And you just tell them those 2 times or open them up to those 2 times. They may however they respond, you've already kind of opened that idea of meeting. So that's essentially what you have to do, is bring the idea of meeting to a very practical, it's going to happen style of meeting.
Mhm.
Because to this, until you ask them when they can meet, which times they can meet, it's still just kind of an open, unbooked appointment.
Yeah, I think it's always better to give them options instead of asking when are you available, because that way when you give them options, there is something for them to like think about. But I guess I think regardless of any situation, whether it's real estate or not, when you're trying to set up an appointment with anybody, you should be the one coming up with the time, so a few options for the person to choose, so that they don't have the burden of choosing, so that things can be done more smoothly. So
Yeah, absolutely. And then once there's been a time chosen, also make sure to follow up, whether it's, I'll send you a calendar invite, or I'll send you a calendar invite, and then maybe once you get that calendar invite, can you send me a text just confirming everything? So get the lead involved in the appointment booking as well. Because sometimes that presumptive close is good, like you do get, but sometimes people are just passing you off, right? They're just saying, okay, 10 o'clock's better. So I would just label that too, just be, I'll send you a calendar invite. Anything you need to or want to, I guess, which is comfortable to you, but confirm that appointment and try to get them engaged in that confirmation. I always like text me when you receive it. I do it for everything. Just text me once you've received this. Okay, excellent. So another kind of idea, these are just scenarios or whatever, but let's just say people are interested in seeing what happens with interest rates. But the issue, their problem is their budget, right? So you've mentioned your budget, you're trying to, time this right. Their problem is interest rates, or their concerns are interest rates. You really want to mirror what they're saying. So if it's a $450,000 budget, for instance, you need to talk about that $450,000 budget, and then you can go into the value offer, which is their pain, and that pain is interest rates. So they literally, those interest rates are preventing them, or the understanding of interest rates are preventing them from purchasing or looking at a home. Okay. So what you want to do is encourage them to have your assistance in understanding the impact of interest rates on their monthly payments, as an example. So this is an exercise, which means you can book an appointment to go through the exercise. Okay. So appointments can be booked to go look at houses. Appointments can be booked to go through the exercise of setting up a home search. Appointments can be booked for the exercise of reviewing how different interest rates might impact their monthly payments. Okay. So there's a pattern forming, and that is you're getting the lead engaged in what you can do for them. So you're mirroring, you're kind of recognizing what their problem is, and then you're adding or suggesting value in the form of an exercise. So exercise 1, going out and looking at houses. Exercise 2, talking about and showing them the styles of houses that they can search for in their price range. And then number 3 might be figuring out how their rate might compare to another rate and affect their budget. Okay. So all of these are exercises, literally exercises in engaging with the client. Okay. And the opposite is like a call that just kind of ends like, can I help you in the future, whatever the soft ending might be. All you have to do is replace that with an exercise. Right? So instead of saying goodbye, say, hey, you'd mentioned interest rates are really important to you. I've got this tool in my system. It'll just take like 5 minutes. We'll jump on a Zoom call and I'll show you what it is, and it can compare to side by side what your payments would be under this interest rate by this interest rate. And then maybe we adjust the amortization, maybe we adjust the term. These are the things that we can do, but I can show you that in like 5 to 10 minutes. That work for you? I could do it tomorrow at noon or tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So you're engaging people in exercises. I have one more exercise. So this is probably not my favorite, but I really like this. So people who are unsure and they're nervous about the market, they may be nervous in home value increases or home value decreases. As realtors, we have access in Canada primarily to sold data. So we have that ability to show people comparables. We have the ability to quickly show people, what has sold and what hasn't sold, what sold for last year, and then what the similar house would be worth this year. So we can start to actually show people the back end of what we do. And again, it just creates an exercise. Whether they're selling a house in this case, or whether they're buying a house, get them on your computer screen in the form of a shared Zoom call, and you'll start to see that people will love to work through these exercises. Sarah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Something to say about this scenario, like both in the case of the interest rate and the interest, in the case of this people, like this scenario where they're trying to figure out whether it makes sense to sell. I like these scenarios better than like we're just looking, because like we're just looking is very broad, but this one is a very specific and concrete example problem that you can provide like so much guidance and value on. You have access to so much historical data. Let's say somebody bought their house a long time ago, and you can tell them like how much the value of the house appreciated, and then you can find out their motivation. There's a concrete problem to solve here. Like getting objections like that are actually very good, because that means people are at least willing to talk about and share a little about themselves, their situation, rather than being like having a wall around themselves. So
yeah, for sure. So just to be clear, we get to these as the fourth step in this process, right?
okay.
So, which is good. But you mentioned something really, really important. I'm just looking as my favorite answer to any conversation that we have online. Just looking means they're just looking. That's awesome. I don't know whether they're just looking for today, tomorrow, 6 months from now, or 2 years from now. I'm not sure of that, but I'm going to find out, right? So just looking. Yeah, I mean, I'd almost rather somebody say just looking than I'm interested. I'm interested has me scared and worried, and where's this conversation going to go? But the just looking objection is just my favorite, because they're looking, say, that's fantastic. It's great to start looking. Some of my clients look 2 years ahead of time. I mean, we do a lot of work together over those 2 years to make sure they buy the house they really, really, really want. And that they can sell that house someday for a profit. So, that, Zara, is like my ideal answer. So don't let it be a bad answer for you. Let it be, that is basically saying explore, explore, explore.
Yeah, well, also just looking is better than I'm not looking at all. So, because you get that sometimes. You like people, you get leads, and then you talk to them, they say, no, I'm not looking. I was just curious, and like I'm not purchasing any property. Like,
yeah, perfect the just looking, and then you'll begin to perfect the I'm not looking, because they're looking. They didn't accidentally sign up for our Facebook ad. It's pretty difficult to do. But anyways, so really get your head around the just lookings, because I think that's where you can have some fun. And you're not that normal salesperson. You're happy if they buy in 2 years. Like if I'm alongside you in 2 years from now, and that's the date they purchase, I'm okay with that. You know, just be that generous, kind, open and giving person. Knowing that you're gonna move things and help them and speed things and all that kind of stuff, but it's very disarming when you're talking about 2 years from now. Very disarming. Oh, Ron, you're just muted there. Ron, go ahead.
Sorry, I need to do my ventriloquism better. I was talking to my wife.
Okay, great. No problem. That's no problem at all. All righty. So, Melissa, is this helping in any way?
Yeah, there's definitely some golden nuggets there. Eye-opening to what an appointment can be and how it can be utilized much better to provide value as opposed to, asking a question and then not knowing what to do. My interest is what then next. So let's say you book the appointment to look at a few homes online on MLS. Like the next step obviously is to book an appointment, but it's the conversation flow that I kind of struggle with as to like, okay, where do we take this next? Like, how much can I keep pushing forward before the lead is like, no, this is too much.
Yeah, I think definitely at the front end of this. So at the, once you're just engaging and discovering what they want, I think that's where you can push a little too much. But I think once you land in doing this exercise with them, so one of these exercises with them, I think you'll find that it becomes, they become in a stage where now they may be scared to purchase, but they are knowing where they can get the information to determine how. And especially, strangely enough, the best discovery calls I've had are the mortgage calculator calls. Because then I can be involved with them from the outset of their journey. So I'm not pushing too hard, but a mortgage person is, and that mortgage person, I'm pushing them to help the client. So suddenly you get this relationship, which is through the exercise, which just becomes a little bit stronger. The discovery day exercise is also really good. Can also end up in nothing. So you'd have to have the time to dedicate to that. But I think if you just imagine these all as exercises that you would do anyways, to be honest, right? You'd create the search, you'd do most of this work yourself anyways. It's just like involving that person. So if they can have that sense that they've been involved, it's really hard to push too hard.
Yeah, I think once you have that connection with them, I mean, we've always been trained to do buyer consultations. I'm an agent in Southern California, so we have now new laws and rules with buyer contracts, and that makes it a little bit more difficult for us to do what we used to do. And that's why I'm here, is because I need to fine tune my business. But we have something called a PSRA, which is you can show one specific property, so which is great to get them, at least hooked in some way. But we are always appointment minded on our team, and so this really helps do mini appointments in such a way.
Yeah, can you with the PCRA, right?
PSRA. Oh my God, there's so many acronyms. Yeah, PSRA.
Yeah, so you would be allowed to do one showing with an unsigned buyer. Is that the idea?
Yeah, so it's on there specifically. It'll say this is a commission for this specific house. Like, say you're working with multiple agents, you can actually tailor it to that particular home.
Got you.
Yeah.
So interesting. All that stuff's coming to Canada soon. So
yeah.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Let me just check with yeah, so Godwin, any suggestions, ideas, comments?
No, I'm good. I'm good right now. So yeah, if anything, I'll chime in.
Excellent. Hey, question for you. Exercises. Do you have anything else that you could think of, the exercise that you could do with a lead?
Not right on top of my head right now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, not right now, no.
Yeah, no worries. No, I'm just curious because these are just things that I've kind of come up with, but you know, create your own way to add value and do an exercise with the client. It can be fun and obviously get to know them as well. So, Jonathan, thoughts around exercises, period.
No, it's all right. I think I'll just take your document and practice like in front of a mirror or with colleagues.
Yeah, and that's a good point, the practice side for sure. And don't forget, I'm gonna go through everything once here. So don't forget that these are learned skills. These aren't skills that you'll perfect overnight. I would never perfect anything here. So you just have to start to get used to you know, making better phone calls and booking better / more appointments. So let me just run through what I believe we've just done. So as a process, I look at a call in 4 different stages, but 4 different steps, segments maybe. Number 1 is the connection. So that's my opportunity to quickly introduce myself, not ask questions, just as a summary. So hi, John, it's Tim from blah, blah, blah. I saw your inquiry come through and I'd like the opportunity to help. So that's our 5-second hook, 3 to 5 second hook. And then we go into doing our discovery questions. So the nice open-ended questions where we're looking for no specific answer, but an answer. So what made now the right time for you to start looking? So again, we go through the quick intro and then one of any selection of discovery calls that you might have. So a person may, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. I thought you were at a stopping point. Tim, the first time that you're pausing for them to respond is after step 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. I'll also have a tiny little pause in here, just to see if there's any response.
Oh, you do. Wait a second. Okay.
I will wait like a heartbeat of a second. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And the reason I do it is if somebody needs to give me a negative objection, okay? Like I'm just looking. So that would be my their chance to stab in there. I'm just looking. So the cadence, Ron, might be like this. I saw your inquiry come through and I'd like the opportunity to help. What has you thinking about moving? So just a split second or a second. But if somebody wants to say right here, I'm not looking, then it's a completely different conversation and I'm happy to have that conversation as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then I'm hoping they give me those responses after any one of these questions. Okay. What are you hoping to change about your current living situation? So I'm trying to get people thinking on their own and not just responding to my yes or no questions. Then, once they've responded in any way, they may say, I'm not looking. I will always kill them with kindness. And in reality, it's kill them with acknowledgements. Okay. A lot of my clients feel the same way, or you're definitely not alone in this situation, or that totally makes sense. Somebody says, I'm not looking. I'll just say, I totally understand that. Every single one of my clients starts looking 2 years out. So, or I'll have some kind of acknowledgement in that way. Then simple next prompts. So let me just be clear. So after this step, these will be wide open conversations. You're going to talk about everything. You're gonna want to try to stay on what's important to them and not so much what you can do for them. We're gonna tell them what we can do for them in the effort to book an appointment.
I'm jumping back again, Tim, and
Cool.
tell me if this is, cut me off if this is a bad time. The next step prompts. So when you said on step 3, I can't quite see it as well as I.
Here, I'll,
That-
hang on.
That totally makes sense. So you went from, oh yeah, that's helpful. Thank you. So you went from, let's see,
Sorry, there we
a
go.
lot of clients have felt the same way, right to one of those questions. What kind of support would help you most right now?
Yeah, or respond to anybody. So as of this step 3, this is pretty much wide open. And this can go a lot of ways, but the stronger you are with these online leads, the more you'll be able to kind of move them into an appointment booking sooner rather than later. But it is important. Like, what could I help you most with right now? So we do want to be discovering, we want to be prompting people to tell us what they're looking for.
And that makes sense. I like that. I guess to me, if I went, they said, hey, just looking. And I said, that totally makes sense. What could I do to help you most right now? Aren't they just going to say, well, I just told you I'm just looking. I don't need your help. That's what I'm trying to understand better, I guess. I'm not, I'm brand new and I'm willing to learn. So don't take this as argumentative at all.
Oh, no. Don't
I'm
worry.
a sponge.
It can be too. This is fun. No, so I think maybe I'll expand on these acknowledgements. They need to be kind of over the top. So when I say like that totally makes sense, I'll probably say it with a bit of a different cadence, and probably I'll extend it, right? So if you've said I'm not interested, totally understand, that makes sense. I'm not sure, but sometimes when you click on these ads, they click through to me, and then I'll ask something real estate. So it's like an acknowledgement to soften them up, not to soften them up, an acknowledgement to recognize their concerns, and then you can have any prompt whatsoever. But when I say totally makes sense, I'll usually have like a big ... and go into wherever they're going, I guess.
Okay.
So, sorry, do you want to role play this so I understand? Maybe I'm explaining this poorly, so.
Oh, certainly. This is the way
Wait.
to learn it. So
Sure. Let's just do it. Let's do it from the top. Would you like to be the realtor, or would you like to be the lead?
I'm okay to make a fool of myself on some of this. That's all right. That's how I'm going to learn it. So I'll be the realtor, and then you can correct me when or it'll be obvious what I have done. Anyway, okay. So
Ring.
Starting with connection.
Yeah. So ring.
Hi, Tim. This is Ron from Cornerstone Real Estate. I saw your inquiry come through, and I'd like the opportunity to help. But what made now the right time to start looking?
Yeah, I'm just starting to look.
Fantastic. So what's your motivation of why you'd like to start now?
Perfect. Simple. And now we have a conversation. So that was fantastic.
Okay, cool.
I typically will over acknowledge. So I'll be the person saying that totally makes sense. All my clients did it. Like I'll almost always over acknowledge, but you just like hit it on the head. So we got right to the point. We're having a conversation.
Okay, you said you're going to share this document because I'd like to go through it a few times so that I'm not actually reading it, but I know what's coming next.
And this is 100%. I completely feel like we're always learning this stuff. There is nothing in here that I think is like legendary or genius. It's all things you can pick or choose. All of these questions were just like me meeting with people and adding questions that have been creative. A couple came from this group. So don't worry too much about the specific content, just the ideas. Yeah, the ideas. And everybody has their own style. And we should appreciate that, so you feel comfortable on the calls. These are just like, if you're, the more comfortable a person is making these calls, changes everything immediately, right?
Well, the energy will be different. It'll make a lot more sense when you're confident in it. So that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So don't make, to everybody, don't make memorizing something what makes you uncomfortable. Like,
Okay.
just understand the basic principles, have a few things written down for yourself, and pick and choose what you know, what you want to focus on.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else with questions about anything? Jonathan, you're good?
I'm good, thank you.
Adrian. I just saw you, Adrian. How are you?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
Good,
I was on
good,
the
good,
road and I
thanks.
apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
I got to my desk now so I can function.
So did you get the point? Did you get? I scrolling through and saw you, sorry. The booking appointment with exercises? Did you get that piece?
Um,
So
I did
creating.
the survey.
Oh, no, sorry, I just meant, just now I was kind of talking about, the best way to build appointments is, through adding value and explaining your value. But it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I do. I kind of get whatever current event is, and that's kind of my talking point for the day, and
Mhm.
offer it as just a sounding board to talk about it. So like the election debate was on Monday, so on the Wednesday I'll be like, hey, just calling to say that was crazy last night. Just offering an ear if you wanted to talk about it, how it affects real estate or how it affects your plans. And then that's kind of where I evolve from there. But
Perfect. Yeah, good stuff. Yep, and then just building exercises, one of your exercises could be going on discovery call. One of your exercises could be doing Zoom calls to talk about mortgage rates. One could be Zoom calls to talk about the impact of whatever, election or whatever you might want to do. Just make those exercises the reasons to book appointments. Based on the entirety, I guess, of the conversation we've had so far. Okay. Okay, excellent. Does that make the all right? That was
so I don't know. Was there a question? I didn't know if there was a
no,
question.
there's no question.
Okay.
There's no question.
Yeah, I didn't want to keep rambling, so I was like, okay, ask me a question, I'll reply, but I didn't hear one, so
No, totally no.
back into the lesson. So.
No questions. I was more waiting for the rambling part. So.
No, my bad.
Just kidding.
Right, you gotta give me. We gotta have a signal. Like you gotta do like a.
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect. All right. So I will send this document out to the whole group shortly here. Does anybody have any questions about booking appointments? Everybody agree that it's like the most important thing that we do? Just before helping people buy a house, sell a house? All right. We're all good?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay, right on. Thanks, Elvira. Okay, super. It's kind of short today, but less people, so if nobody has anything else. Yeah, if nobody has anything else, I'll send the document out right away here.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Enjoy the day.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right,
team.
sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Next one.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.